This question actually comes up quite a bit for me. What if my spouse fights with me about the best discipline for our kids? I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, your positive family psychologist. Let's put the conflict into context first, and then I'm going to share with you a really practical and powerful tool. Most of the time when couples talk to me about fighting, they're referring to conflicts that come up, and this is a natural part of relationships. In fact, I believe that conflict is one of those things that we can't really avoid because of differences. Now think about it. Differences. We come from different backgrounds and different experiences, and we've got all kinds of different thoughts and preferences and opinions. This is good because differences make us relevant and interesting to each other. It's the differences that give us a reason for the relationship in the first place, but it also causes conflict. And especially when it comes to our kids, because what could be more important to us than our kids, right? So the differences bring up the conflicts. This isn't a bad thing, and we're not going to get rid of all of the differences. We just need to find something different that we can do with the conflict. Are you with me? So that it doesn't hurt our kids. I have to insert a little bit of my experience here. I spent 13 years in my career doing child custody evaluations for the court. This is when the conflict got intense enough and severe enough that people decided to separate and divorce, and now they're fighting over their kids. This conflict hurts kids. In fact, one of the top 5 factors that determine the outcome of divorce for children is conflict, specifically conflict between the parents about the kids. Now, let's not wait for it to get to that level. There are things that we can do about that conflict right now before it gets to the point that it's destroying the family. Part of my job is to illuminate the obvious. I love this because I get paid to tell people things they already know, or to show them things that they already see. But there's a lot of obvious things that are completely unnoticed, and this might be one of them. When you get into the conflict or the argument or the fight with your spouse, it seems like they're the enemy. Notice that. Well, newsflash, they're not the enemy. This is your spouse. This is your partner. This is someone you chose to do this with. And your spouse, the other parent to your kids, loves them. I know, obvious, but we don't always think about that when we get into the conflict. This person that you're conflicted with or fighting against actually loves your children more than any other person on the planet except maybe you. Connect with that for just a minute. This is not the enemy. This is so important to realize because when we treat the other parent like the enemy, that's when we get into these fights and that hurts our kids. So remember, this is someone who actually really loves your kids. Now, what if there is a divorce? What if you're separated? And I know some of you are. It's still true. The other parent loves your kids. Connect with that for a minute. It's going to change the game. I am so glad that you're tuned into this. Can I just take a moment to invite you to subscribe to this channel so that you won't miss the great content that's still coming to support you as a parent. Now, I've got a really powerful and practical tool for you. Let me put the context around this first. I have found in my career of almost 30 years now that when people truly understand each other, they discover that they don't disagree as much as they thought they did. This means that communication is a really important tool to help us get to that understanding. When you accomplish true understanding, you're going to notice some really important things. I already said that your spouse, your partner, the other parent, loves these kids. And they have a different background and different experiences from what you have. So they have ideas that are a little different from yours. I have a colleague, Brett Williams, who wrote a book, the title of which is, You Can Be Right or You Can Be Married. And I always chuckle about that title because it's funny, but it's also kind of true. Brett argues in his book that the only fight we really get into with the other parent is the right fight. It becomes about who's right instead of what's right. And you both have brilliant ideas. I can't tell you how many times in my private coaching with clients, with families, that I say this. You know what? You're both right. And this surprises people sometimes. It's like a brand new idea to them that they had never even considered. You're both right. Well, how could that be true? Because my spouse has different ideas than I have about this, and they're not the same. Well, yeah, it's because the other parent has this experience, this knowledge base that is different from yours. Ding, 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 ding. This is good news because you don't have to rely just on your experience. You've got the whole knowledge bank of that other parent that you can pull from too. And this is good news for your kids. So when we take the time to understand each other, it gets us onto a plane where we don't disagree as much as we thought we did. In fact, there are some brilliant new ideas coming through because we've taken the time to understand each other. Now, I promised you a tool, and just saying that communication is important probably isn't enough of a tool, but I've put together a cheat sheet for you. Just go grab it. The URL is right here on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/communication. Sometimes I spend full trainings or full videos talking about this. I'm just going to give you the quick cheat sheet. But here's what we need to get to. We focus on understanding first. Understanding. This is the mistake that most people make in communication. Because think about it. You go into an interaction or a communication thinking, okay, I got to get my point across. That's really common. In fact, that's how most people go into a communication. When you get your communication cheat sheet, you're going to see some different steps there that you can do. The first important thing is to put your need to be understood on hold. Just kind of stick it on a shelf for safekeeping, okay? When you try to make your point right out of the chute, it's usually resisted. You feel some pushback. Have you noticed this? So this tip is going to save you all kinds of pain and agony in this relationship and get you to the understanding quicker. You put your need to be understood over here on a shelf. We're going to pull that off when it's time, okay? And your first objective is to listen, to understand. You're going to work to understand your spouse, your partner, the other parent first. Make sure you get it. And you'll know that you're there when you can repeat back to them what their opinion is in a way that they say, yes, that's it. Okay, now some people don't get there because they confuse understanding with agreeing. It's not the same thing. Showing that you understand is a powerful communication step. And once you understand, you can go back to the shelf and pull your opinion off and with permission share that at that point in the conversation. This is a game changer, folks, and you'll need to practice it a little bit. Don't worry about that. You can get some coaching and additional assistance, and I gave you the cheat sheet. So we've got your back on that. Just remember, seek first to understand. I want to reiterate one important point right here. Good parenting is all about what's right, not who's right. You are both brilliant people who love your children, and you've both got ideas that can potentially benefit your kids. Let's get to what's right and not worry so much about who's right. This will change the dynamic in your home. It will increase the potential for your kids to experience success and happiness, and it's going to bring a whole lot more peace to you. Hey, thanks for watching, and you don't have to do this alone. We've got your back. Hopefully you've already subscribed and watched that next up video, Who Takes Care of the Parents? We've got your back on this.